Jericho, good to have you here. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Jericho, hello, hello.
Oh, hello. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it signed me out like last minute. Like I think like 2:30. It just signed out for some reason.
Oh, okay. Because okay,
Yeah,
so I think that what happened, you know. So use in the meeting room in almost like over 10 minutes ago, I believe, like maybe 12 or 13 minutes ago. So, but of course, I couldn't. I mean, there is a recording that is attached to every meeting. So I
yeah,
couldn't just accept you in when the other student go out because I have to end his recording. So I needed
yeah.
to close the meeting and then join again with a new recording so that it will become totally your own recording. Did you understand?
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe when I
Yeah.
did that, it caused you to get signed out. This could be the possible.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
oh, I see.
So,
Yeah,
sorry, because yeah, now it's a time for exams, so everybody is actually yeah, maybe the
yeah,
classes are near each other. So okay, let me
yeah.
try to.
Sorry about the inconvenience there.
No problem, it's okay. Just
Yeah.
just do me something a favor, please. If you have,
Okay.
I mean, if we have a plan that is different from every week plan on the exam, I mean, not on the exam, but in the class. So at least give me 24 hours. That helped me a lot because I have also, I mean, sometimes I'm out with my family, or but when you give, and I mean, I don't plan only 12 hours before the class what I'm going to give to you. I plan ahead. So
Yeah.
when you give me
Yeah.
a sudden change like that, so that actually destroy all my personal planning. So please give me at
Oh,
least
okay.
24 hours before the class if you plan to
All right.
change. Okay. So okay.
Okay.
Now
Sorry about that.
it's okay. I understand that this is the
Mm,
first time, so it's okay. Um,
okay.
let me think with you. Give me your questions so that I don't have to go through all the topics. I think you told me that you would like to know about the computer components, but when you tell me computer components, actually this is a very wide term. So I would like you to give me a specific. What do you mean by computer components? Is it ROM, RAM, hard disk, secondary drive? This is what you mean? CPU? Is that?
Could I quickly just grab my theory book?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, I'll be back now. Page. I'm just looking for the page. Um, could I look at possibly the RAM?
Yes, yes, we can talk about the RAM. Yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, give me a second. I'm opening here. So, So the RAM, it actually, in reality, it looks like this. So this is the RAM in the desktop, and this is the RAM in actually laptops. And we call the RAM a short for random access memory. So random access memory means that I'm able to access any place in the RAM in a random way without having to go to read the RAM in sequence. Okay, so I will explain that in detail, but give me a second. So the CPU actually deal directly with the RAM. That's one thing. So the CPU install instructions, and it install frequently access data inside the RAM. Okay. So why we put the instructions and the data that we need to process in the RAM? Because the RAM is actually how to say, it doesn't have any mechanical parts. It works electronically. It is much faster and closer to the CPU than to the hard disk. The hard disk is what? It is a secondary storage. A RAM, it is a primary storage. Okay. And the RAM is volatile, which means that if you disconnect the electricity, it will lose its content. Okay. So, okay. When we do read and write operation to the RAM, it is significantly faster than the hard disk. So every place in the RAM have an address. And then, yes, it is having an address, but it is also having a place to store the information inside the RAM itself. I mean, so the RAM, every location, it is marked with an address, and it have a place we are able to save the data inside that location. This content that is marked by the address, we are able to store either one of two things. We are able to install instructions, or we are able to install data. So what is the difference between an instruction and a data? An instruction, do you see when we write in system.out.println, this is an instruction. This is considered an instruction. And so at the end, there is no data here. This is an instruction to the CPU or to the processor to print something to the screen. But what is the data that is going to be printed? So that can be a different location in the memory that's storing the data. So sometimes you say integer x equal 5. So at the end, you are storing 5 inside x. So x it is a variable that have a memory location. Assume it is this memory location, and then assume that this is the 5 that is here, that is stored inside x. Okay. So CPU temporarily transfer data and programs from the hard disk into the RAM. And then the CPU perform read-write operation into the RAM, because it's much faster than the hard disk. Why? Because the hard disk have mechanical parts. Okay, now tell me what you understand or what you didn't understand.
So far I'm kind of getting it. So what I basically understood from this is that the RAM has like an address, and it also stores context within a specific address. Then it can store either an instruction or data.
Yes.
Yeah, instructions, something like system.out.println or like show input dialog or something. And then data could be int x equals to 5 or char 20. I mean char equals
yes,
to
exactly,
like
correct. Yes, you are tying the dots
0.
together. Yes, correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So okay. Let me also tell you that the RAM also carries something that it's not mentioned here, which is part of the operating system. So when you open the Windows, part of the operating system is actually loaded inside the RAM. Okay.
Okay. So
I mean, because at the end of the day, when you open your PC, the screen of the Windows need to show out to you. anything that
Yeah.
that comes out to you on the screen must be already stored in the RAM.
Oh,
Okay, so
yeah.
nothing will come, I mean, nothing from the hard disk will come directly to you to the screen. No, the first step is to copy the operating system to the RAM, and then once the windows start to open, we can open another programs. But
Yeah.
I mean, the processes of opening another programs also pass through the step of copying the program from the hard disk or the secondary storage into the RAM. The CPU cannot deal directly with the data inside the secondary storage, which is the hard disk. So everything needs to be copied to the RAM first. Okay, does this make sense?
Yeah, somewhat.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, what else? What about the ROM? Do you understand what the ROM is?
I'd like to look at it.
Okay, give me a
Yeah.
second. So, I think maybe I need to avoid. Okay, I think there is a comparison here. We are able to. So we are able to say that both the RAM and the ROM are actually primary storage. Okay.
Yeah.
And let me try to, okay. So the RAM is temporary memory device, which means that it loses its content once the power is disconnected, but this is not the case in the ROM. Definitely the ROM, it is non-volatile, means that it doesn't lose its content by losing electricity. It is the information there is stored permanent, but the size of the ROM is quite small.
Yeah.
I mean, the RAM is volatile, which means that once electricity is disconnected, everything is gone. In the RAM, we are able to read and write, but in the ROM, the data is actually stored by the manufacturer of the motherboard most of the time. Okay, so you are not.
So could
Yeah.
so
Yes.
could the ROM be like likened to like cloud or something, or not really?
Cloud? You mean the information inside the ROM can be stored in the cloud? You mean?
Yeah,
No,
kind
no,
of.
no, no, no.
Oh,
No, not at all. You can't even access it. You personally can't even access the data in the ROM. It is automatically, this information is automatically accessed by the computer during the startup process. What is the startup process? Once you press the power on, so they go and fetch some instructions that is written in a low level language from the ROM. And this instruction is needed so that the CPU start to know and check other hardware. So if you happen to disconnect your keyboard, or mostly the keyboard, if you disconnect the keyboard from your computer, you're actually not able to make the Windows loads. Why? Because inside the ROM there is instruction that actually check that the keyboard is connected. If it is not connected, you are not able to bypass this. So you will actually not be able to even load. So your Windows will not load. So who is responsible for that? The instructions inside the ROM. But you are not able to access using the usual ways the data inside the ROM. You're not able.
Okay.
Okay. So, and the ROM also stores something called the BIOS. So this BIOS is actually also, I mean, some of the instructions that is our setting that is needed during the startup. What is the startup? The process of making all the hardware in the computer power up and then start to collaborate to load on the Windows for you. So this is like maybe the first 10 seconds after you press the power on. This is, we call it the startup process.
Yeah.
So you, most of the time you will see a black screen on your I mean, you will see something black with white letters written on your screen. This is the process of the startup process of the computer. This is, sometimes it lasts, if the computer is fast enough, it maybe only lasts 3 or 4 seconds. If it is an old computer, it might take up to 10 seconds. And then it will start to disappear, and then the Windows logo will start to appear on the screen. Okay, so what we are going to store inside the RAM, we store data, files, programs, part even of the operating system. If you are opening a video, I mean, at the moment when you are opening the Zoom is stored now inside the RAM. When you, if you finish the class and you actually try to watch the video of the class, so that video will not open for you on the screen unless it is loaded in the RAM. So who does the loading process? The operating system. It do it for you. You don't have to go and fetch it from the hard drive. It just do, you just click a mouse and then the video will open for you. Who copies the video from the secondary drive to the RAM? It is actually the operating system. So now tell me, what else?
What else? As in? What do you mean? What else?
I mean, do you have questions here?
No, not really.
Okay, and okay.
Yeah.
Let me check. So, what about? I mean, let me check. So you understand what the CPU does? You understand what the operating system does? Do you?
Yeah. Yes. Well, the operating system, not really, but CPU, yes.
Okay, so CPU, you know it. Let me look at the. Okay, give me a second. I need to look here, and then if we possibly have a chance, I will go through with you. Did you have a look at the exam questions that your mother sent to me?
No, not really.
Okay.
Actually, I have.
Okay. So do you know if they ask you about this term? Do you know what is this term? QWERTY.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know that it is part of the keyboard here?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Okay, because that is an exam question that I saw from what your mother sent to me. So, okay, what about?
Yeah, but I think it would be like a lower level question because it's not too difficult.
Okay, what about here?
Yeah.
Do you know what is a high definition and multimedia interface, HDMI?
Not into great depth, no.
Okay, so because I saw an exam question that also asked about that, so that's why I'm checking with you. So actually, this is a cable that can connect your computer to a screen. So that is one possibility. So it is this cable is responsible for transferring videos and video and audio from your computer to a screen, to a monitor. And not only that, also from your computer to a video projector or to a digital TV or to a digital audio device. Okay, so mostly it is a monitor. So a cable, it's connecting your computer, your CPU case to a monitor or to a projector. That's one thing. Let me also tell you this. I'm not very sure if you ever studied this RSI. I'm not very sure also why I saw it in your exam questions. So did you ever hear about this term before, RSI?
No, but well, I'm pretty sure it's not in the test.
Okay, so I mean the test that it was given to me, is it similar to the test that you're going to see or different?
I feel like a few things overlap, but there's going to be some things that are going to be inherently different in the different tests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anyhow, this RSI is actually a pain that is felt by people who actually repetitively do the same task for long periods. So they have a pain in this area, and I'm surprised by that. I saw this kind of term in the exam questions that was passed to me by your mother. But anyhow, do you know what's the meaning of trackball? But also this was an exam question.
We can look at it, yeah.
So okay. So I mean, the answer of the exam question is a trackball. So that's why I put the definition here first, so that when we look at the exam question, then we are able to understand what is happening here. So a trackball it's like maybe now it's not so popular, but previously it was popular, which means that you don't need to actually move the mouse at all. So the ball that is supposed to be under the mouse, it's put here. So you move it with your fingers.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So that is one thing. And okay, do you know so why do we use a biometric? And why is it? Yeah.
I'd say for security reasons.
Okay, so
mainly
we are not, yes, it is for security reasons. So it means that we are not able to fake or to actually bypass this kind of biometric scanning or biometric authentication because it depends on the face sometimes, or even the eye, or even the fingerprint, right? So yeah, it's hard to fake or to bypass. That is also good here. Let me, okay, what else I need to share with you? Let me see. I would say that I would, if I mean, let me check with you first the software part, the operating system, and then we can move to the exam question as a way to check the knowledge. So, okay, now what is your question about the operating system? What do you need to know about the operating system?
I'm aware that there are different types of operating systems. Let me just quickly turn to the page. Sorry. So
do you know the difference between Windows and Linux or Linux?
No.
Okay, so do you know the command line interface? What is the CLI? Do you know what is that? CLI.
Please repeat.
CLI, command line interface. I mean, that is, if you see my screen, you will see it here. It's actually part of your. So okay. So did you ever see a command line interface or no? Nothing. Did you?
No, I've never seen one.
Okay, so I would use a chance. Okay, give me a second. I would. So what you are seeing now on the screen, it's a command line interface. So I'm able to actually give a command, and based on the commands, the computer will respond to me. So before the Windows appear, or I mean, be in the market, and then we are able to purchase it and install it on our computers, we was not having Windows before. We started by having operating system that is based on command line interface, which means that we need to memorize commands to be able to interact with the computer. Okay, so if I needed to move the files from one place to another, I need to actually write a command to do that. I cannot use mouse. Previously, in the command line interface, there is no mouse. Okay, so okay. Can we say that the command line interface is pain? Yes, it's painful, because if you don't know the command, then you are able to do nothing. Okay, you are not able to switch between tasks very easy. So here you are able to open the Zoom and then go to the Google Drive. You are able to go to open a YouTube video. All you are able to do it at the same time. Command line interface, you are only able to do one thing at a time. So that is one of the pain that we faced before the Windows happened. We like I said, we have no icons, we have no mouse, nothing, you know. Okay, so
Yeah.
the difference between the Windows and the Linux that Linux are very powerful, especially with the command line interface. So the Linux, I mean, the things that you need maybe 10 clicks to do in the Windows, I'm able to do it in 3 or 4 commands in less than a second in Linux. So Linux is
Wow.
powerful in this way. So I can say maybe open a file and compress it and send it to somewhere on the cloud, just maybe in just one command, and it can be done in maybe 10 seconds until you open the browser and then send the file and then go to the place where you want to store the file. It might even take for you 1 or 2 minutes if you want to do it in Windows. But in the power of Linux or the command line, if you know the commands, especially in Linux, you're able to do many things just by only a few commands. So that's why.
Hello, are you still there?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, hello? Hello? Hello, hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So what was the last thing that you heard from me?
We're talking about the Linux and then how like fast it can go. Like the last thing I remember you saying was
You got disconnected. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Actually I can hear you, but I'm not very sure.
no,
Hello.
something's wrong with the connection.
It's not stable?
Yeah, let me just get a dongle real quick because my router doesn't seem to be working.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you can see my
Yeah.
screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what I would like to tell you here, can you look at this image here that we have? So in this image, you will see that I'm trying to highlight for you here that the one that deals with hardware. So this is a hardware. What is a hardware? CPU, keyboard, monitor.
Like the physical parts of the computer.
Exactly. Yes. So we
Yeah.
need to use drivers to be able to communicate, to make a communication between the operating system and the hardware. So even the operating system cannot talk directly to the hardware. We need the drivers. So the device driver is like a translator that that lies in between the operating system and the hardware. So the hardware talks a language, and then the operating system talk another language. In order for them to communicate together and to achieve or execute tasks for you, we need to use drivers, and drivers is part of your syllabus, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we have applications, I mean, when we have an operating system, we are not, I mean, without the operating system, we are not able to operate or even open any application. So you have a Zoom application. Are you able to open the Zoom without the Windows? No. You need to wait for the Windows to open first. After that, you can start clicking on the icon for the Zoom or even for the web browser, right?
Yes.
Okay, that is good. So an operating system actually have a very good and strong functionality. And why? Because actually, if we look at the operating system, I would say that there is, okay, let me talk about here. So in general, you are able to interact with your operating system using 3 modes. So you are able to use the graphical user interface. So sometimes they use a short for it, GUI. You are also able to interact with the operating system using a command line interface. Okay. And or even sometimes able to communicate with the computer using a voice command. And this is very clear if we're talking about Android or even the mobile system. So do you know that an Android, it's an operating system, right?
Yes.
And we are able to give instructions to our Android phone using our voice commands, right? So he's able to listen and translate our commands, and then he translate that to a real command, and then he get it executed. And this is very popular in Android, right? Okay. So okay. The difference between the GUI and the command line interface in that the command line interface, you have to write commands, and it's very powerful. But the graphical user interface, it's very easy, but it takes a lot of memory. So if we would like to actually make a comparison between those, and it says that what is the advantage of using maybe command line is that it actually communicates directly with the computer. It doesn't take too much space. It takes only a small amount of memory. Okay, but you need to learn a lot of commands. Okay. Graphical user interface, it shows you a lot of user-friendly icons, but it takes a lot of memory. You don't really need to learn commands here to deal with it, but you're only able to do things that have icons. So if you don't have an icons for a specific functionality, you're not able to do it. So that's why most of the power lies in the command. Okay, now let me give you, because also I saw that, let me go directly to the benefits of the operating system, because also I saw an exam question related to yours here. So the seven main functionality of an operating system is human computer interface. Okay.
Yeah.
And memory management. So the operating system manages the memory, which means that, okay, who is responsible for allocating memory for the Zoom? It is the operating system. You only click on the icon, and who takes care of everything? It is the operating system under the hood. So he is the one who is moving the Zoom files from the hard disk into the RAM. And he is the one that makes sure that when you open any file, any video file, any voice file, any song, he is the one who makes sure that your program that you choose have enough memory to actually load so that you are able to use it on the computer. Okay. So, okay, your computer do a lot of multitasking, which means that you're able to listen to a music, you're able to surf the internet, you're able to download a file, you're able to press a button on the keyboard, all is working at the same time. Who is taking care of that? It is the operating system. So the operating system have actually taken care of a lot of processes that is running at the same time. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So there is hardware peripheral devices that is connected to your computer. So you have a mouse, you have a keyboard, you possibly have a monitor, you have a scanner, you have a printer. So all this, we call it peripheral hardware. So who is taking care of those? So when you press the printing button, and then you send the document to be printed to the printer, who is communicating, do the communication with the printer? It is the operating system. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So what is user account management? So on your computer, you and maybe another 5 or 6 family members are actually able to use the computer, and the operating system separate the files of
Like
yours
the
from
data
your
of
mother.
each.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they separate them in a private places so that you all does not really access each other files. Okay. So, and
Yeah.
we also have something called file management, which means that the operating system arrange for us the hard disk or the storage space into something that is simplifying the storage. So he allow us to create folders, and then he allow us to create folders inside another folders, and then store files inside certain folders. In reality, if we go down to the hard disk, there is no folders. There is no place for folders. Folders is only done for to us by the operating system to make our life easier. Okay.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, the file is stored beside each other on the hard disk. So who take care of the file management? It is the operating system. It make it easy for us to copy one file from one place to another. It make it easy for us to just by a mouse click to delete or to create a folder or a file, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so who taking care of the security? So the every user have a password, and the one who takes care that you key in the correct password and to prevent the unauthorized access to the computer, it is also the operating system. So he is the one
Yeah.
who prevent people from accessing your files and your account actually. Okay, is that clear so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so give me examples of an operating system other than Windows.
iOS, like the
Okay,
Apple.
okay. So we have two operating systems of Apple, Mac
Yeah.
OS and iOS. What is the difference between them?
iOS is, from what I understand, it works more with the like iPads and iPhones, and then
Excellent.
Mac
Yes.
OS is more for like the Macintosh and yeah.
Computers itself. Yes. The
Yeah.
yes, Apple computers. Okay, that's good. And do you have any other ideas about other operating system?
I know there's like Xiaomi and there's like Android. I'm not sure if Xiaomi's like independent from Android or if it is with Android, but yeah.
I think no,
Also
they don't allow them to use Android. So we have Linux, which is
Linux.
it is a free software. It is a free operating system, and
Yeah.
we have Android, of course. So Android belonged to Google. Linux, it was developed by a Finnish student, a PhD student, and he make it free.
Yeah.
And the beauty of Linux, it doesn't need a lot of memory. So if you have a computer that is from 15 years ago, it will not be able to run Windows anymore. But if you would like to still use that computer, you install Linux on top of it. So it will,
Oh,
yes, so it is free. It doesn't take too much memory, and you are able to make use of the computer. I have seen that with my eyes. If you, I mean,
really?
computers that should be dumped away, if you would like to still use it, you install Linux on top of it. So it will run and it will do a lot of good jobs there without the need to actually install or purchase Windows. Okay.
That's cool.
Yes. So okay.
Yeah.
This exact same question I will show you. I will show to you in the exam that was shared by your mother. Let me see here. I also wanted to share what with you. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. First of all, do you have any questions before I proceed?
Oh no.
Okay, let me see. So, okay, do you know what is an open source software?
No, please do explain.
Okay, so we have two versions of we can categorize the software into two versions, not versions, but two categories, I would say. So the free category, which is an open source, which means, do you know what the meaning of source? A source file. So when we develop a software, for example, a Java software, so we have the source of the code that we developed. It is a file that ends with .java. Okay, I think we have seen that many times, right? We created a class and then we created a file name that end .java. So this is what we call a source. So you are able to build Java programs, and the source of your code will be stored in a file that ends with .java. So, okay, an open source software is a software that you are able to look at its source. I mean, at the language that it was created with. So if we have a Java file that is doing something important, maybe in the school or something, so and they tell you that this is an open source, which means that you're able to look at the source code. So you're able to learn and see how this software was developed, and you're able even to modify the software. So how you modify the software? By modifying the source. So if you look at the Java code, you're able to modify it, and then you are able to make it do things that it was not intended at the start. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So let me just say that open source, although it is free, but they don't offer support for that software. But what about a closed source? Microsoft is an example of a closed source. Zoom, it is an example of a closed source software. You are not able to see the source code. You are able to use a software. Either it is offered to you for free or partially free or a paid version. Normally nowadays, the Windows have to be paid. You have to pay for the Windows to use it. You have to pay for Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word to be able to use it. So who are able to change the closed software? It is the original developer or development company that developed the software. Okay, so you are not able to change the functionality of the Microsoft Word. You're not able to change the functionality of the Zoom. Who controls that? It is the company that developed the software, Zoom, initially. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so every software comes with a license. The license determine how the software can be used and what kind of modification that you are allowed to do, and if you even are allowed to share the software with others. So definitely, if you buy the software like Zoom, and maybe you are not allowed, they don't allow you to share it with others, because why? They want others to buy it also from them. So they sell it only for you as maybe one person, but they don't allow others to use it. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so just an example, like we said, it is Microsoft Office is a closed source software. So, okay, what about Linux here? As you see, it is under a free software. So even people are able to get the source code of the Linux and are able to modify it and even create their own version of the Linux. So, and Linux have a kind of Office package, they call it Open Office. So it is totally free. You are able to use it, install it, do whatever. Of course, it's not as beautiful as Microsoft Office, of course. Let me see.
Yeah.
So a free software, it is a software that is given to you, but they don't give you the source code of the software. Okay, so they also don't allow you to modify it or redistribute it. So an example of that is Adobe Acrobat Reader. So do you know with a PDF file? Have you seen PDF files before?
Yeah.
So PDF files, do you know what is it's short for what? Portable document format.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so also I have seen this as an exam question in yours that was shared on your side. So the PDF files are opened by this Adobe Acrobat Reader. Okay, so we are not able to modify that software reader. Okay, but we are able to create our own PDF files or even share the PDF files, because PDF files is files that belong to us, but the reader itself, it is a program that was developed by the company that's called Adobe. Okay, so the PDF file, it have a benefit because it is I mean, you create a file with a PDF, it will appear to me in a certain format, and if I give you the same file, it will appear to you in exactly the same format. So the format are able to be kept and does not change from one computer to another. That's why they say it's a portable document format. Okay, that is one thing. Let me see here. Okay, what is a cloud-based storage? And why do we need one?
Should I say so, or?
Yes, please.
So cloud is, what I understand, it's like permanent, basically. Like it can be stored anywhere, but like permanently, and it's there so that you can go and like access files or documents or whatever that you probably used 15 years ago, but you might need them today or something like that.
No. Let me correct that. So this is not a permanent storage, and typically it is a paid. Most of, I mean, 90% of the time, if you would like to store something professionally and avoid losing it, you have to pay for the for the storage or the space that you are allowed to use. So Google Drive offer up to 15 gig, okay, for each account, but they can change that if you are only using the free version. They can change the policy at any time. They can delete your files even at any time, and they will tell you that they have the right to do that because they are offering it for you for free. Okay, so the cloud, the beauty of the cloud is that you are able to store your files safe away from your computer. So it acts as a backup for the files on your computer. So if something happened, if a virus attack your computer, if your computer is burned and you lose your hard drive, so you are able to rescue your files because it's on the cloud. So you are able to restore your files. That's why it's safe. And you are able also, so imagine that you have a big files in size and you are storing it on the cloud. So you don't really need to buy external storage or depend that you carry the external storage everywhere to access the big files. You're able to access anywhere without having to carry the storage with you. So that is one, as long as you're having access to the internet, then you are able to access your storage. Okay, so the drawbacks here is that if you don't have an internet, then you are not able to access your cloud storage. So this acts as a disadvantage. So advantage, it is like an external backup. If something happened to your local files, then you are able to look up for files on a different place. But the problem is, first, it needs always internet connection. And of course, it need if you're storing big files, it needs a fast internet connection. So did you now understand what is a cloud storage?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, why do we need to compress files? And what is the common compressed file formats?
I'm not sure.
So we need to compress files because we need first, if we are storing the files locally, we need to save the storage. We don't want to the files to take too much space from our hard disk. At the end of the day, our hard disk or our secondary storage is limited. So we need to save it. I mean, we don't want to some files to take all over all the space. So we need to use compression. Compression will reduce the amount of space needed to store the files. And if we are sending a file over the internet, so we need to save our bandwidth. So instead of taking half an hour to send the file, maybe we can take 15 minutes to send the file if it is compressed. Okay, so
Yeah,
what is an
yeah.
example of a compressed formats? .zip, .rar. So this is an example of compressed files. Okay, so
Yeah.
what kind of tools that can do the compression? Windows have a built-in zip tool that can compress files, and there is also another tool that's called WinZip, another tool that is called WinRAR. So WinRAR will produce files that end with .rar. WinZip
Yeah.
will produce files that end with .zip. Okay, because I have seen also an exam question that show you a list of files, and they will ask you what files are compressed. So you need to know the extension of the files. Okay. Okay. Do you know why you need to make a backup for your files?
Yes, I do, because let's say for example your laptop breaks or something, right? And then now let's say you didn't have backup or anything. Those files are essentially lost.
Exactly.
But
Correct.
if you had a backup, you can buy a new computer and then access those files through the backup on the new computer.
Excellent. Yes, that's a good answer. Yes. So, okay. So do you know what's the meaning installing a software and uninstalling a software? Do you know what does it mean by installing and uninstalling?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
So we did explain why we need drivers to our computer, right? Do you know why we need the
yeah,
drivers? Okay, so we need
yeah.
drivers for a printer, for graphic card, for a mouse. So, okay, do you know what the meaning plug and play?
Pardon?
Plug and play. Do you know what is that? Sometimes they say
Uh, uh,
PMP.
not too sure.
Okay, so nowadays, if you install a new mouse or even a new scanner to your connect a new scanner to your computer, you don't actually need to install the driver. The driver, it is found automatically by the operating system and installed on the operating system for you. Last time, we have to do that manually. So I would say 15 years ago, if I have a printer and then I lose the device driver that is on the CD that come with the printer, I'm not able to use the printer anymore. So the software or the driver is more even important than the printer itself. So the hardware become useless if you don't have the CD or the device driver. Nowadays, you don't have to worry about that. You just put the USB connection with the printer, and then the operating system start to install to actually discover your hardware or your printer and start to check what kind of device driver it needs, and it install it automatically even for you. If you, I mean, nowadays, if you just buy a new mouse, you can easily connect it to your computer without the need to install any software. Previously, 15 years ago, we need to even install the software or the driver for the mouse. Now we don't have to do that. So why we are enjoying that thing? Because of the plug and play feature that we have it now. And also, this is an exam question, and I will show it to you. So, okay. So do you know in your syllabus, you have also something that is talking about scheduling and updating. Do you know what's the meaning scheduling?
Scheduling. No, not really, but I'm aware of updates.
Okay, so scheduling, you're able to schedule backups for your computer. So instead of having to do everything on your own, you are actually able to tell the computer, using a certain software and that I would like to make a backup for my files when it is at 12, maybe 12 a.m. at the night. So maybe you are not using the computer anymore. So the computer will actually use that time to make the backup for all the files. So you are able to instruct your computer or schedule certain operation that is heavily in its processing, which means that it makes the computer slow. So to be done in the times that you are actually not using the computer anymore. So we are able also to download updates to the Windows or even to our antivirus software when we are not using the software, the computer. So maybe we do that at night when we are actually not using the computer anymore. Okay. So that is also part of the things that we're able to do. Do you know what the mean a defragmentation software? I think I have seen that in your syllabus.
Please repeat.
Let me confirm. I apologize. I disconnected here. Defragmentation software.
Defragmentation software.
Yes.
Let
me
would
let
it
me
not
confirm
be
here? Let me see. Defragmentation, or backup, compression, cloud storage. I see. Defragmentation. You see here?
yes.
So okay, never mind. Let me just take you quickly to the defragmentation. So I think it's before that. Yeah, here. So okay. Defragmentation software, it is a utility software that mostly come with the Windows that allow you to actually make to organize the data on your hard disk. You cannot see how the data is organized on your hard disk, but who can see it? A specific software can see it. So if you look at the data here, so this is he just mentioned data 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 different pieces of data that is located far away from each other. Okay?
Yeah.
So this data is actually supposed to belong to one file, for example. So it can be one video file. If we try to ask the hard disk to access this data and load this data into actually the RAM, it will take quite a long time. So the best way is to make the data stored in consecutive places on the hard disk. So because we have a moving head that actually move all across the hard disk to be able to connect our files. When the files is beside each other like that, it takes less time for the hardware and the operating system to copy that file to the RAM. But when they are scattered like that, it takes a lot of movement from the mechanical head to be able to collect the files that is scattered all along the hard drive. So the defragmentation software organize your data that is belonging to each other and make them in a consecutive places like that. So this is also a process that can take 1 or 2 hours to be done, depending on how big is your files and how big is your hard disk. Okay, so so we do it typically every maybe 3 to 4 months. Okay. So I think now I explain that portion. Let me try to go to the end. Do you know what is an antivirus?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that is good. What is a malware?
Malware, malicious software. So it's like software that's like intended to like kind of cause viruses or like disrupt a certain like software or app.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I'm listening. Yes.
Sorry,
Uh,
I just saw low internet bandwidth, so I thought there was something wrong with the network.
no problem. It's okay. So I would say that a malware is a kind of malicious software, and it is
Yeah,
designed to damage or disrupt or get unauthorized to make an unauthorized access to your computer. So
yeah.
malware can include viruses, spyware, adware, ransomware, or even worms. So do you know what's the meaning? What is the difference between a virus and a spyware?
Um, a virus, a virus disrupts a software, and then spyware basically gains like personal information.
So yes, the okay, but I would say that your definition for spyware is okay, but for the virus, so virus attach itself to programs or to files. So it means that
Yeah.
it damage your files. It infects your
Oh,
files. So if you have a virus on your computer, anybody that take any single file from your computer will also get infected. Okay,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it corrupts. So it means that if a file is infected with a virus, you might find that this file is not usable anymore, or sometimes
yeah,
by itself it delete your files, and definitely because it is working on the background without you seeing it, it make your computer slow down.
yeah.
Okay, so what is a firewall?
Um, a firewall basically restricts you from accessing certain information or certain files.
Mm, so the firewall does not protect you.
No, no, prevents.
Okay. Can I say that the firewall can be a software or hardware?
Oh, it's like software.
No, it is two. So there is versions of the firewall that can be software and the versions that can be hardware. Hardware versions is very expensive. Software is most common on desktops, but in companies they use hardware, especially if like a bank or they are afraid that their information got lost, or so they use a hardware because of a software firewall can be actually they can overcome the protection. So a firewall
Yeah,
is a security system that controls the incoming and outgoing of network traffic. So the firewall will not find a virus for you. Okay, it
yeah,
depends on the network. It monitors the network communication. So okay, the firewall will work on an internal network, which means that I mean, if your school have a network of computers, but it's still not connected to the internet, you might need a firewall. Maybe your teachers have certain files, and maybe there is a payroll system on the school that they don't want anybody to access. So they might
yeah,
put a firewall to prevent others from accessing sensitive files that belong to the school. Okay?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so good. So we are able to say that the firewall acts as a barrier between trusted internal network and untrusted external network. So we can say that the headmaster and the people, the accountant who's taking care of the payment and the school fees and so on, we can say those are trusted people. And then they can treat all the other computer as untrusted, which means that they don't allow anybody else to access the trusted information, which is maybe the payment, maybe the score of the students, maybe the marks, and so on. Okay?
yeah.
Okay, good. And what is an antivirus?
An antivirus would be like something that prevents a virus from happening or like detects it and then stops it basically.
Yes, yes, that's correct. So an example of that, we have Windows Defender, um, um, maybe Kaspersky, Avast, Bitdefender. So all of those are actually, this comes free with the Windows. Those two are two commercial products that if you need, then you have to pay for them. I would
Yeah,
say yes, the antivirus monitors the activities on your of the programs on your computer to see if any of those are actually acting or behaving like a virus. And if it detects one of those, it isolates them and try to cure the files or fix the problem with the file that was infected with viruses. Okay, now give me any questions, please.
I think I'm fine. Yeah.
Totally fine. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you have anything that you need, when is your exam?
We're writing the test on Friday.
Oh, okay. So from now until Friday, if you have any questions, let me know. Write it to me.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
then maybe I can try to record something for you or find a way to pass the information to you. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Take care then.
You too.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.